Hey, what's up? So guys, this is going to be a long video. I do apologize in advance, but I'm going to do everything for everyone who requested. Now, the first thing is I have to establish is why do I like this deck? Why do I keep profiling it? I love this deck. This is my favorite deck, hands down. It's not because it used to be good. I was actually playing it from the release. The reason why is that I loved not Pendulum Summon, but to be able to use every single summon in the game. That's all I wanted from when I started to play Yu-Gi-Oh! Being able to summon all types of summon. So the deck just provides that for me. So it's just fun to be able to synchro summon, fusion, exceeds, pendulum, link. I can use every summon. I can use ritual if I want to, but I'm not going to. Right? And the deck on top of that is very competitive. And most of you ask me what is the deck playstyle. Well, I personally turtle up, set up as much negates as possible, and end my turn. Now, when my opponent goes through the negates, I'm not expecting to win off the negates alone. I'm expecting them to try and break the board, use a lot of resources to try and do so. Then the next turn, I'll come at them with Clearwing, Ignister, this, which punches for no less than 5,000. A lot of things are over here, and I just go at my opponent. But first turn, I want to get on my Vortex, this, another this, this, this. So I have a lot of negates. And that is just my playstyle. It might not suit you. And to put the record straight, I was the first person in the entire world to suggest, let's play Darkwurm in the Pendulums when the deck got hit. How do I know I was first? Because I placed it on YouTube immediately after the ban list. So I know I was first. Most persons wasn't sure what to play. I knew that I was going to play Darkwurm. I know everyone was going to play Darkwurm in Pendulum Magicians. The reason why I wasn't sure completely was because of OCG. Normally, OCG is a crystal ball of the future. Things happen over there before it happens over here. But the thing is, OCG had a completely different ban list because they have Double Iris, they have Joker, they have Astrograph. We don't have those stuff. They have Harmonizing at 1. So I couldn't look over there and be like, okay, we're going to play Darkwurm. Darkwurm was at 1 over there as well. But I just thought about it. I thought about things. I kept testing the deck, and voila. I was the first person on YouTube, make no doubt. That is why I have so many combo videos, and I'm going to place them in the link below. So I was the first. Then I'm going to go through the deck profile and actually explain stuff today. And when I said that even though I was first, I didn't place the deck profile on YouTube. No, I gave the idea first because I immediately told everyone after the ban list. But I didn't have all the cards after the ban list. So I'm definitely the first. Now, Harmonizing is very good. Why is that? Because it's a free +1 by Pendulum Summon it. It's a tuner. It's an 8 scale. You just eventually get away with freeness. Being able to summon a magician of any level, doesn't matter, any magician, free of charge. Its effects are negated, but so what? I'm not going to let it stick around. Fine. In scale, for every magician that have a different name, all your monsters gain 100 attack and defense. So yes, it's good. Then you have 2 Black Fang. It's your monster reborn in disguise. What it does in scale is that it can half opponent monster's attack of its current attack and destroy itself. When it's destroyed, it gets to special summon a dark spellcaster from my graveyard. Fun fact, if you Solemn Warn this, you get to bring it back. If you get Solemn Warned. And a next fun fact, when I just got the cards, when they were fresh, last year, 2017, I played through a board of 4 negates with 4 cards. Destroyed their board completely and then set up a board. And that was just when Pendulum Magician came out. The new ones with the Black Fangs and these. The deck is very good at floating. Then we have 2 Purple Poison. He's not so hot going first, and the reason why is that he's not a combo piece. I possibly want to see every other card except for him in my opening hand. I'll go for him, but I don't want to see him starting off with. The reason why that is only effects is to, if he gets destroyed, I get to destroy a face-up card on the field. Good. While in scale, I can, if one of my dark spellcasters do battle, I can make it gain 1200 attack points, which is this card's attack points, ironically, and then it destroys itself. So even after that, it will get to pop a card. And you see, if they negate it, like say Solemn Strike it while it's in the face-up extra deck by destroying itself, and you target a card to be destroyed, if they negate it, it goes to the graveyard and will trigger again. So it floats and guarantees to pop a card. So most times it's in your opponent's best interest if they don't negate. Then you have Triple Wisdom, very good card, auto scale up. The Wisdom is just in here, monster effect is completely irrelevant. What it does in scale is that if you have a next magician or perform pal in the next scale, it can destroy itself and put any magician in scale. Auto good. The thing in the past is that most of the magicians required a next magician in the scale to do something. So it wasn't that good, because if I went for Dragonpit, I couldn't activate it if I used a perform pal to change scales. So it wasn't that good then. And also I must advise you, it's not once per turn in the scale. Just important. Because it is not once per turn. Let's say opponent finds something to stop it the first time without destroying it. You just do it again. I'm dead serious. It's not a once per turn in the scale, and people don't know that. Oafdragon 2. Oafdragon is like a free plus every turn. Very good card. When it's summoned, get a magician or others from my grave to my hand. While it's in the scale, if our next magician is in the scale, get a others or magicians from my face-up extra deck to my hand. Now, it's important to know that it includes others as well, because most persons forget. Then you have Dragonpit. He's not really the greatest card, but he's very good this meta. And why a lot of you are going to disagree, but I'm going to show you something. He has 2700 defense and a normal monster. You might wonder why is that relevant? But being 2700 defense is stronger than everything that is standard this meta. Colossus is 2600. It cannot get over it. Widow Anchor cannot steal this. And even if I draw it, it can go into the scale and pop my opponent cards. And let's say I drew Darkwurm. I get to send this to the grave just a special summon back and search by destroying my opponent's card. Are you serious? The card is good right now. Then we have Xiangke. Xiangke is just a free negate, 2500 attack. Negates light monsters once per turn. In the scale, not so relevant, but things can happen with it in the scale. It's just not likely to happen. Now, it's just that you only play for a level 7. It comes back because Black Fang can bring back any dark spellcaster, so he can come back from the grave after doing combos. So it's just really good. And your last magician, ironically, the first magician, is Timegazer. You probably won't be using his effects, but it's still a good card, and I'll tell you the effect regardless, because someone asked me to explain all the effects, and I will. While he's in the scale, if you attack with a pendulum monster, your opponent cannot activate trap cards. Auto win against decks that play only trap cards, and you have all the pendulum monsters lined up for attack. While he's on the field, the first time your pendulum cards in your pendulum zones would be destroyed by your opponent's card effect, they are not destroyed. So example, the Twin Twister, your cards are safe. If they exit on, your cards are safe. No worry. And that rounds it up for your magicians. That's all your magicians. Moving on. Now we have the turbo part of the engine. The real factor reality of the deck is that the deck is not the best deck. I'm not going to lie to you and tell you it's the best deck, but the deck is still good. Despite all the banlist hits, which are a lot, you cannot exaggerate that enough, the deck is still performing. Now you play triple Chronograph. It provides 2 ways to get free special summons onto the field, so you can make your Electromite before you pendulum someone, which is what you want to do. If you can't do it, that doesn't mean that it's the end of the world, just that it's preferred. Then triple Darkwurm, real good card. Going first, what you could do is that if you have all dark low level monsters in your hand, you can place this card in the scale, and automatically you can use this effect to put a gate 0 in the next scale. Now remember, you would only be able to pendulum summon dark monsters when you do so, but yeah, it's an option. It's a legitimate option if you choose. And there are other dirty tricks that you can do with it. Example, with your extra deck monsters that I'm going to go through in detail, is that it can bring it back with Darkwurm and other things I'm going to show you. And then when it is in the graveyard and you control no monsters, you can special summon it and you can add a card to your hand, which is going to be a Supreme King card, gate 0. So it sets you up fabulously. You don't lose anything by doing this. And then moving on, we have triple Master Cerberus. Now, Master Cerberus is one of the few cards I didn't want to play in the meta for now, and that's because your matchup against Thunder Dragons are not good, because you do a lot of searching, and I'm going to remove all of the search cards, or most of them, a vast majority, very soon, so that I'm not playing at a disadvantage. But Cerberus in scale just destroys itself to search for a mythical beast monster that is level 7 or lower, which is going to be our Jackal. Right? And then on the field, every time a spell card is activated, it gains 2 counters. Once per turn, I can remove 4 counters and banish a monster my opponent controls, and it gains the monster's attack. Jackal, in scale, it can destroy itself to special summon a level 7 or higher mythical beast monster, which means only Cerberus. And then every time a spell card is activated, it gains 2 counters. It can remove 2 counters once per turn anywhere on your field to negate and destroy a monster effect your opponent activates. Now, the thing is to it, it's not a hard once per turn, so if I have 2, both of them can negate. And also, if only one of them have the 4 counters, both of them can still negate, because you can remove the counters anywhere off your field. Very good stuff. Then, onto the spell cards. We have 2 Alliance. Searches for cards with Pendulum in its name, simply by having a card in the Pendulum zone. Then we have Pendulum Call, searchable by Alliance. And Pendulum Call, you discard any card from your hand, search for 2 magicians with different names. Now the thing is, you cannot activate this card if you activate a magician before. Not a magician's monster effect, but the scale effect. If you did not activate a scale effect, you can activate this, then you can activate the scale effect after. Good. And then the last reward for doing all of this is that your cards in the magicians, actually, in the pendulum zone, they can't be destroyed until your turn comes back around. Really good. So your opponent can't just heavy storm or whatever, not that exactly heavy storm, but they can't just destroy your backfield. Then we have Star Pendulumgraph. Every time a magician leaves the field, I get to add a new one from my deck to my hand. Now, on top of all of that, why Star Pendulumgraph is also good is that none of my spellcasters can be targeted as long as it is face up on the field with spell cards. Now, this limits your opponent when you're playing against Sky Striker from doing anything, because if I only have spellcasters, they can't Afterburner, they can't Widow Anchor, they can't do shit. Because if I don't have a face down card, they can't even use the next one to destroy face downs, which is most likely going to happen. I'm not going to have a set card. Then I have for the Darkwurm engine, Shrines and Foolish, just to send the Darkwurm from deck to grave. And the last of the spell cards is Triple Pot of Desires, just to give me an extra push. I really didn't like this card. I have a bad history with it, but so far it's been going on well. At the tournament, I didn't play it once because I didn't draw it. So yeah. And the last card would be Time Pendulumgraph, also searchable by your Duelist Alliance. Once per turn, I can target 2 cards on the field, one of my magician and one card your opponent controls. If it does not destroy those 2 selected cards, I get to send an extra card on the field to the grave. Now, you might not think this relevant, but if I use this, say, on a Colossus, my opponent banishes to save it, I'm going to send it to the grave. Just like that, free of cost. And that lines it up for your bean deck. I'm not going through the side deck, it doesn't make sense because everyone plays something different there. I play Vortex, free fusion someone, negate, easy. And if you want to know his anime name, Eraserhead and Gran Torino. Now the FA Dragster is just there to negate spell cards. Once per turn, negate. Neat trick that you could do is that if your opponent controls a monster that is summoned from the extra deck, what you could do is that if you run enough levels down, you can, how to get the extra negate if you go to level 1, banish this card, and banish one of my opponent monsters. When it returns back, temporary effects are removed, so it will go back up to level 7. Fresh, ready to do the road again. Now, moving on, from there we have Supreme King Clearwing, one of easily the best synchro in extra deck, easily. Now, Bakugo here, Young Boom. If when he special summon, synchro summon rather, destroy all monsters my opponent controls that are face up. Just like that. Just Raigeki for no reason. Then to make matters worse, if it attacks or gets attacked, before damage calculation, I can destroy my opponent monster and then lose damage equal to that monster's original attack. Like what? Where's the drawback? And then if it's in the graveyard, I can actually tribute 2 Darkwurms or Supreme King monsters to special summon it back from the graveyard. It comes up, but very rarely. Igazelia, I'm going to destroy, it targets one of my cards, pendulum cards. Destroy it, then shuffle in one card my opponent controls into their deck. It does not target. So it goes around a lot of these things, especially Colossus. Then we have Knightmare. Really good. If my opponent special summons a monster, I can detach a material, Book of Moon it. The thing on this card why most people don't play it, because it takes 2 darks to summon it, but I guarantee you the free Book of Moon, massive. Then Dweller, aka Boy's Yu-Gi-Oh! Carrier. I can detach a card for the entire turn. My opponent cannot activate graveyard effects. It does not negate them, they can't activate them. Pornstar Magician. It's the rotor for the deck, plus tax. If a pendulum card, whether it be monster or in the zone, would be destroyed, I get to send a spellcaster from my deck instead. Now, I most advise you to send this most times because it cannot activate when you draw it. It does nothing, it's a dead card. Also, you can detach and search for a dark spellcaster, whether it be from your graveyard, your face-up extra deck, or even your deck. Most persons don't know that, so they think, oh, well, I have to search for this from my deck. No, you can search from your grave, bro. It does that. Anti-Illuminati Knight. Really good card. Simple effect. If my opponent activates a card that targets a card on my field, detach and change the target. Doesn't even have to be on my field. As long as it targets, I can change it to an appropriate target. Cool stuff. Dank Rebellion. Really good card. Attacks, does 5,000. I'm not even joking. This card does a lot of damage. Honestly, I feel like to play 2, but I think that is just wild. But there are a lot of times when I could win that game just by playing 2. Because after the first one goes and it takes off, let's say, it takes off 5,000. My opponent barely lives. And they find out, because I don't have a second one to finish off the game, they normally kill me. I'm really contemplating of playing 2. Then you have Nagato, the Moral Leader. Good stuff. Free negate. Just detach. Negate spell or trap. Todoroki. Iceman himself. Freezes up attacks. Negates them. And special summon back an odd ice monster from my grave. Now I'm not going to special summon an odd ice monster in this deck, because there are none to special. However, if it is sent from field to graveyard after being successfully exceed someone, I get to special summon an odd ice monster from my extra deck, which is going to be Vortex. And this, what I'm going through this is for beginners. Like if you don't know the deck. So it sets up your free negate. And for the link monsters, my ex-girlfriend and the one before that. Just really good stuff. Takes 2 dark monsters to special summon, so your entire deck can summon this card. And then on top of all of that, all my dark monsters gain 1500 apologies, 500 attack. My opponent monsters loses 400 if they're light monsters, which comes up a lot. And if it actually goes to the graveyard, it gets destroyed, I get to add a dark card back to my hand, or I could put it back in the face of extra deck, or I could put any of these in the extra even itself. So it works really, really good. And you might be like, wow, this card is not that amazing. Well, you see, because the card has really damn good synergy with your cards, because they are dark spellcasters they work with, these two makes it a beast card. By having poison scale, this can go up to 3100. Right? And then the real beauty of this is that you can float all day between these 3 cards. If you summon the first one and it goes to the grave, you add. If you have Black Fang, you can bring it back whenever you feel like. You can special summon Black Fang in defense, destroys, special this back. If it gets destroyed, I get back a add. Next turn I do the same thing over and over and over, and I get all searches and add backs. It's really hard to kill if they don't have an immediate way to punch through you. So it floats all days, every day. Then we have Thrift. Surprised this card isn't banned, considering Thrift's reputation. But the card is at 1. Good stuff. Everyone should know what this does. Link someone, put any pendulum card in my face up extra deck. I can pop any card on my field to add a face up extra deck pendulum card to my hand. And if a card leaves my pendulum zone, I draw a card, mandatory in that draw too. That's just it. Then we have Megatron. He's just really there to do the combo to link up into, but his effects aren't that brilliant. Now I'm just going to tell you quick and fast. Once per turn, if a monster he points to that was summoned from the extra deck is destroyed by an opponent's card effect, you see all that I would have to go through, you can actually add back a pendulum monster from either your graveyard to your hand or face up extra deck to your hand. I'm not sure if it's a pendulum monster. I don't think it let me. No, add 1 monster, so it doesn't have to be a pendulum monster. And then next effect on it, once per turn, I can target 1 monster that was summoned from the extra deck that it points to, and 1 monster my opponent controls that was summoned from the extra deck. Banish both of them until the end phase. It's kind of good for freeing up your extra monster zone pointers, but it doesn't. It's a very hard thing to get off, because if my opponent has a monster that was summoned from the extra deck, there's a low chance that I'm going to get all these set up, and there's a low chance my opponent isn't going to get the chance to do it like that. So that's it for the deck. This is it for everyone. If you want to check out anything regarding this deck, you can just simply comment down below and I will respond to you when I have the time. Also, you can check out my combo videos. I will be posting it, and you can tell me what you think and what is your opinion. This deck profile was truly for newer persons and not to be taken serious for the players that are very good at this deck and understand it fully. But I'm just explaining things for all of you who wanted to understand, because I actually care about all the subscribers, like all of you. Despite what you may think, I care about all of them, the good and the bad. And I'm a super cool guy, very sarcastic too. But yeah, so thanks for watching guys. Rate, comment, subscribe, and I'm out. Have a wonderful day. Peace.